Welcome to the Power of Her podcast. I'm Sinkule, and I'm so glad that you're here. So grab your coffee or your wine, get cozy, and let's dive in. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Power of Her. I'm Sinkule. I'm so excited to talk today to Whitney Freya, who has been a longtime friend, client, artist, author, majestic warrior. Let's call her all the things. She's anything and everything you want her to be, but she is the brains behind what we're going to talk about today, which is the Great Mother March. And it's specific to a movement that Whitney really, and I, but Whitney specifically are passionate about. And we're going to talk about this specific part of Whitney's journey and how this fits into kind of her overall mission. So welcome, Whitney. Before we dig into that, give a better outline of what you do and who you are and how this all kind of came to be before we jump into the details of everything.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's important to understand a little of the backstory.
Context. Yeah.
Yeah, the Great Mother March is a highly intuitive event, and that's the way it was received. And so I know this kind of intuitive calling because my entire career that I'm so grateful for started in a very similar way. I was a college graduate selling books door to door. After my third summer selling books door to door, it was a horrible summer in, in that experience. And I was desperate to come up with the idea. And I'd been very convicted for multiple reasons, practical and mystical, that I was going to come up with the idea, and I was being prepared through this selling books door to door, which was absolutely true. So I'm reading a book called Zen and the Art of Making a Living, and in it the author says, unless you adopt an artist mentality, you won't be able to create the life of your dreams. And that's all I knew, is that I was not meant to like plug into some existing role or job. And I came up with ideas constantly. I almost felt like some version of a Disney princess that was cursed with like, you will come up with so many ideas every
And you will
day.
never be able to do them all. This is your curse.
So, and I had been a passionate wannabe artist my whole life. When I was 9, the art teacher stood with me and my mom. My mom was picking me up from this art class at this church. I can still picture it. And I had this kind of abstract, I think it was acrylic paint actually, but this very abstract painting that, to her credit, my mom hung in the dining room in our house the rest of my childhood. And the art teacher explained to us very, with a lot of authority, that I had a great eye for color and balance, but drawing wasn't my thing. And so, which in hindsight was, kind of true. And what I heard as a 9-year-old was that I hadn't inherited that artistic DNA, that old story around creativity. So fast forward to reading The Artist Mentality, and I had like tried to get in because I had this sense, which if you're a passionate wannabe anything, it means it's in your future. Like you're meant to go there. And so
Yeah.
I had, entertained different entries that I thought I could handle, including like in college, there was a mixed media collage course. And I'm like, I can do that. But you had to take drawing 101, 102, painting 101, 102. So I'm like, I can't do that. So anyway, when I read The Artist Mentality, and I'm like, yeah, where the hell does one go to develop an artist mentality? Because I could not get in, at the local art center. It was registration every 13 weeks, and I was moving practically every 13 weeks. So the idea came literally in the margins of the book that I still have. It says the Creative Fitness Center, and it was where you go to work out your right brain muscle so that you could go back out into the art that is your life and create the change you want. So I sold books one more summer, right close to where I live now, actually, sold a ton of books, took the money, bought like a crack house in Nashville, Tennessee, in what became an up and coming neighborhood. At the time, it was just the hood, and and started my career. And so, all that being said, none of it made logical sense, right?
Yeah.
And in hindsight, I went online in 2009 because I was moving out to Oregon. I have this freedom. I have this incredible community. I get to work with Dawn. Like, I'm so entirely grateful. So, in November of this past year, November 2024, I'm just sitting on the front porch with my man, having mate, thinking about the winter because he goes to New Zealand and I do all kinds of things. I went to Colombia to visit my daughter and paraglide, and then I was going to Asheville to teach a workshop. And as I'm sitting there thinking about Asheville, I heard, and I get thoughts, like I'm claircognizant is what they call it. So
Mm,
they used to feel like random thoughts. I've come to understand there's nothing random about them.
yeah.
They're just
Right.
not coming from within my file cabinet of experience. And
Uh-huh.
so I literally heard the words in my head, women are marching from Asheville to the US Capitol. And I like felt like the wind got knocked out of me. I kind of coughed and I welled up with tears, which I'm like about to do now. And I remember saying to Todd, I go, I just heard women are marching from Asheville to the US Capitol. And in my mind, I'm like, really?
What? What's happening? What does that mean?
Do I have to?
Yeah,
Like,
that seems like a
huh?
long march.
I said to her,
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm open. And this is what I tell people. This is what I write about, like 30 days to unstoppable. Be the dream made visible. You get the call, you stay open, receptive. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to take immediate action. You just stay open and curious. So
Yep.
it's like my book come to life. So I'm like, okay, I'm open, but like really, like I was literally trying to figure out how to kind of just like find a current where I could dial back a little bit. That was
Yeah. Yeah.
felt like my future was not starting this international movement. So
I know. I remember us kind of being like, let's see how we can like get in a groove and kind of take some time and kind of like
gotcha.
leverage out all the things you're already doing. Let's not throw in this thing.
Yeah.
Right. And here it came.
And sitting on that front porch, I was also given a wave of like everything has been preparing you for this,
Mm,
which is completely
right.
overwhelming because like my creative frequency coaches, right? Like I started that back in 2010 and they're my like Christmas
Yeah.
every morning. And um and they're all over the world, 600 plus all over the world. And it's just like, oh, okay. And we had this theme of artivism this year. Like part of my
Mm,
marketing was artivism. And
mhm.
so it makes sense in lots of ways, but in the moment it felt like I was the lightning bolt from heaven again, much like the Creative Fitness Center.
Yeah.
So 2, 3 weeks later, after staying open and curious, I committed to the Great Mother March because I happened to have just read, in the Gene Keys book, how if you don't commit, you're
Doesn't
half-hearted.
happen.
And
Hmm.
until you commit, the universe can't support you. So I knew I had to commit to this because I knew I was going to need lots of help. And
Right.
so I committed to it in these hot springs that it takes 16,000 years for the water to get down. So I'm in waters that have never touched the modern world at like dawn. And I've got dawn, and I've got my journal out and I'm like, I commit to the Great Mother March. And the Great Mother March came through that morning. And anyway, so I explained to someone else in a podcast interview I did this winter that as scary as saying yes to this calling is,
Hmm.
honestly, I'd be more afraid to say no to it.
Yeah.
Because when
Yeah.
we ignore these deep callings, desires that they're not ever going to make sense
Hmm.
logically, but when you feel this like rush of energy and you keep getting pinged, with similar
Right.
resonant information or ideas, or, your friend brings something up or you see something randomly come through, if you don't say yes to it, it's like, okay, it's not like you're going to be punished, but like it's going to keep coming back. And maybe
Yeah.
where you're sending your attention is going to start feeling clunky because you're
Yeah.
being encouraged, just like we would encourage a young child. Like, no, really, it's so much easier to walk around the mud puddle than to
Right.
walk,
Right.
you know?
Right. Right. Right.
And so like that, whatever you want to call it, spirit, I love the great mystery. I've been reading that lately. The great
Uh,
mystery is going to keep trying to encourage you to look again at this desire that you've been offered. And there's a lot of energy, and
mhm.
there's always going to be fear because it's unknown, but you're being called into a deeper level of trust. So I've said yes, And then fortunately, which this is why I believe I get these calls, like within weeks, probably I had greatmothermarch.com. I created the portal on my online program. I reached out to
Mhm.
the ladies in Asheville, which I had done before I said yes. And they're part of a group when women come to pray. And
Mm.
they had been wondering, curious about an event that they would do in 2026 to really launch them onto a bigger
Yeah. Bigger
screen, so
stage.
to speak. And
Yeah.
so fit in and yeah, so by the time I got to Asheville in March, I was meeting with the team of the Great Mother March and so it is.
And
And
so it be. Bless it, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so for people who, I mean, this is, I think you've said about 10 different things that I think are important to listening to your intuition and being open to callings and all of those things, which I think are amazing. But I really want people to understand what this march is about and why this is so special and different than anything that you have done before, anything that you've been part of before, because you are a very open vessel, right? Person that gets these messages a lot. And I know that you take action on things that you get, and you are somebody who, receives and executes, right? So this feels very different to me than some of those other things that we've done together. And I think not just because it's bigger on a much bigger scale, but it feels, I don't know, more legacy movement wise. It's a bigger sort of, I don't know, purpose or vision. So tell people a little bit more about what this is specifically in comparison to some of the other things and why
Yeah.
it's such a different sort of mission.
Yeah, so what I've realized, the golden thread is that my calling has always been around illuminating, expanding, putting into the spotlight, reframing the feminine. Because
Mhm.
creativity is a feminine energy that men and women have. This is not about gender. And the Great Mother March, we have men, women, whatever gender you identify with is invited.
Mhm.
And so this empowering the feminine energy has been a huge theme for me my whole career. And so
Yeah.
this Great Mother March is making the wise, unconditionally loving, fierce, strong, great mother feminine energy visible. And I hear her voice, I imagine her saying kind of like, yeah, and girl, we need 32 days to get these people's attention. Like
Right.
it's not just like one day we're all marching.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you have felt that feeling of like, yeah, these marches and protests don't seem to be even making a drop. And I'm sure they are. I'm not discouraging those, but
Yeah.
this feels like an alternative. And so the Great Mother March is aligned with a teaching that I started to see and read as well that encourages us to imagine into the future that we want to inhabit, like your children, your grandchildren. What's the world you want them to be in? And what is the role you would like to play in that? And how can you embody that now? So the
Mm.
Great Mother March, like just imagine this like it's this massive group of people that are creating this entire community, this whole new reality. The Great Mother March reality is totally different from
Yeah.
outside. We're walking, we're staying in these communities, we are weaving into the spaces between us, we are showing up as a universal one. And as much as we need from the communities, a place to put our HQ tent, a place to put 100 tents, let the food people know that we're coming and the Great Mother is
Right.
going to be hungry. After that, the question is, how can we support you? How can we offer an experience, whether it's painting a mural, or these wisdom circles, or a big dance, or some of the stopovers are we're working with different arts organizations that have wanted to do, an art festival or some sort of event, and so they're going to do it alongside the Great Mother March.
Mm.
We want to empower the small businesses, the women-owned businesses, and so it's making visible a reality where the law of reciprocity is understood, where
Mm.
we understand that we have so much more in common and then we have differences. And it's in like our end goal, people ask me, so when you get to
Yeah.
DC, kind of
What
what
are
are
you doing?
your
Right. Yeah.
what are your
Yeah.
demands? Including our senator, Wyden asked me that at a town hall. And the honest answer is, Great Mother will tell me if there's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
request at that point. Like, who knows what the world is that we're going to be living in. We arrive in DC like totally unexpectedly on Earth Day,
Mm,
when we decided to leave Asheville on the equinox. And then I'm, doing the math and like, okay, we can't do this for much more than a month, right? So
yeah.
I started gridding it out and using Google Maps and the mileage and everything. It puts us in DC on Earth Day, which is like,
Which is crazy.
yeah,
Right.
amazing. So,
All meant to
so
be.
what I really see that this march is also aligned with is the truth that this world that we want to bring into reality is going to happen from the ground up.
Hmm.
It's not going to happen because of policy coming out of DC. Um,
Right.
and so the entire march is set up that way. There's no fee to be a part of the march. And if you want to join, what is encouraged, whether you find your circle in our Facebook group or you recruit friends that you know, I want to march. Get your circle together. Like I'm picturing, 8 to 12 people, and that circle has a support vehicle. So it could be, your mother, a grandmother that doesn't want to walk. We have
Yeah.
husbands driving support vehicles, support trailers, camper trailers.
Hmm.
So you get your circle together, you have your support vehicle. In that support vehicle, you have everything you need. Like if something happened and we needed to
Right.
stop in our tracks, you'd have warmth and food and sleeping bag and a tent or, whatever.
Whatever.
If
Yeah.
you're tired of walking, you hop in a support vehicle and get taken up to the stopover town. And, this isn't like meant to be this extreme athlete thing.
Yeah.
Although, also, ironically enough, it's about the same exact mileage as walking the Camino de Santiago in Spain. So
Hmm.
I've also understood, and I know we're talking to someone out there who is going, or multiple who are going to really get excited about this. This is an invitation to immerse yourself for 32 days in what you might call the new paradigm, to
Hmm.
show up in a reality that is guided and created by this great mother feminine energy that is not about pointing fingers. This is not a protest. You are invited to express what you are for. So you get your
Hmm.
circle together and it's like, okay, what do we want to communicate on the march? And it could be through costume, it could be through art that you're carrying, it could be through an offering that your group makes that evening.
Hmm.
How do you want to embody this future reality and how can you express it? So it's this like living, breathing, co-creative, collaborative art piece, like an
Yeah.
installation, a moving installation through rural North Carolina and Virginia, very intentionally through the smaller towns, um, to DC. And along the way, there's going to be music, there's going to be lots of yoga because we're going to need it.
Yeah.
Dawn is a yoga teacher.
I am going to be yogging. Yes.
Yes, yes,
I will
yes.
be yogging.
We love
Right.
that.
We have a
Um,
lot of yogas. Yeah. Yeah.
I really see whether it's this March or the next one, which of course we're already like seeing the ripple effects. These like the 100 spots that are, for whatever reason, I'm committed to making sure there are 100 camp spots at each town, and those 100 spots are going to go first to the people who are planning on marching the entire way and don't want to stay in hotels the whole time. And that group is going to emerge this most powerful force of nature, like lifelong friends and the founders of a movement that keeps this great mother feminine energy alive. And um, it's it's
It's
like
amazing.
it's amazing, and it's such a
Hmm.
gift right now to be, at 55 after my entire career being intuitively guided,
Yeah. Directed to do
given
this. Yeah.
to be given this right now with the knowing I have,
Hmm.
it's like, do it, just one foot in front of the other and the trust. And it doesn't mean, ladies, that I haven't been crying, calling up some of my inner circle members, like, oh my God,
What
can
are we doing?
I just stop? Can I just like not send out
I
any
don't want to do this anymore. Who said this was good? Why
God,
me?
I would have so much free time right now if I
Right?
was doing Great Mother March.
Why me? Why me? Well, and I think that's an interesting thing too, because this is really a pilgrimage, you've called it, right? Like an empowerment pilgrimage. And I think tactically, for a lot of people, they may not be able to do the whole month, right? And that's okay, right? What you said is fine. And it begins on the spring equinox, right? Just so logistically, we're starting and we've got it plotted out to all of these different towns. And we were reaching out to all these different towns, making sure that they know they're building their communities and getting hyped and ready for us. And we've got it all planned out day by day by day. So if you're listening to this and you're going, there's no way I can do 32 days. I can't get that off work, or, I can't walk 32 days or whatever. There's still options for you at multiple spots along the way. Is that right?
Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
right. So, March 21st in Asheville, we're going to have an outdoor festival with music and art and inspiring speakers.
Yeah.
And then on March 22nd, we leave Asheville and we march uh, via smaller roads to Boone, North Carolina, where
Mhm.
Appalachian State is. So that's an awesome place. So, like, you might choose to do that route. You might choose to come to the opening festival and then walk for 2 or 3 days.
Right.
You might choose to meet us in Boone. Uh, and then we move from Boone through North Carolina into Virginia over to this precious community that, like, if I was looking to move to the East Coast, I might seriously consider Floyd, Virginia. And Floyd has the Floyd General Store, and they have their Appalachian music night every Friday night. And of course, we happen to get there on a Friday
On a
night. So
Friday
we're going
night.
to
Of
be
course, right? Doesn't
opening
that
up
sound
and
fascinating?
yeah, yeah, we're going to be camping right behind the general store where the music is happening and the market. Like literally that night, Friday night, I think there's an art market right across the street, and then Saturday morning there's a farmer's market right across the street. So like, anyway, and then we go up through Lynchburg to Waynesboro, Charlottesville. We are partnering with Ix Park, Ix Art Park, and then an amazing woman, Coco Hunter, who's in the process of creating a, a dome, this like eco dome that's going to be an edutainment center. And so
Ooh,
I just Zoomed with her, like I'm meeting the coolest people ever. And she's intending to build this right in Ix Park. So now her intention is to break ground in October. So now she's using the Great Mother March as part of the fundraising efforts to
for
say
this. Yeah.
we want to raise the money, break ground in October. So when Great Mother March comes through on April 13th and 14th, we're going to spend the whole day in Charlottesville. It can be part of watching, seeing the edutainment dome come to life. So they're
Okay.
using the Great Mother March, and the entire Charlottesville creative community is going to come out for this. And that's our only stopover day in Charlottesville. So joining in Charlottesville is going to be amazing. And I think it's like 8 more days until we walk into DC.
Hmm.
Manassas, Virginia, we're working with a local arts community that was founded by two people from Bangladesh who are wanting to bring the Asian art and community into the spotlight. So they're organizing an event. And then we march into DC, and I have made Great Mother promise me there's going to be a flash mob as we walk across the bridge.
You said this the other day, and I was like, "Huh, it's an interesting one. Let's see what that looks like." But
Oh my gosh,
I'm
how
all
many
for
of
it.
you listening? Okay, if you have always wanted to be a part of a flash mob, like one that goes viral on YouTube just because that means it rocked,
Right.
comment,
This is
like
it.
tweet, whatever you all do. Um, yeah, I'm just insistent upon that. And we've got lots of different dancers. We
Uh-huh.
just have to like get that choreography team together. But so like join in Charlottesville, we'll be practicing our flash mob dance and then walk with us. And we're going to be like costumed up. And, the energy of celebration
Yeah.
is
Right.
actually a huge part of this. Um, And of course, I've also connected through a series of random events with Mayor Cromwell, who wrote the Great Mother Bible, who's
Mm.
been channeling the Great Mother since 2012. And I'm reading her book, and all over it, it's like Mother Earth, Great Mother, want us to celebrate with our bare feet on the ground, to bring balance back to this world.
Mhm.
No, I don't believe in victims. I don't believe in villains. I believe we're infinite beings. We create these roller coaster loop-de-loops because we don't want to come to Earth and just like do the same thing every
Be
day.
bored.
Yeah, be bored, So we want to keep it exciting. And so this event is to celebrate this moment that we're being offered to bring the masculine and feminine back into balance. And we all know the patriarchy, and, it's characterized by over active, logical, linear, left brain, result oriented, show me the proof, show me the money. That left brain, logical, linear mind is fear based.
Mhm.
So this is what, is being
Yeah.
manipulated. It also sees us all as separate. And the pointing fingers and the immigration and all that is out of proportion
Yeah.
because of this over dominant, unhealthy masculine, which, ladies, is unhealthy partly because it's waiting for the empowered, wise, loving, compassionate feminine that's not going to back down. And I'm speaking as someone who has edited and muted around the masculine. It's why I am divorced.
Mhm.
Like, I
And
know
in my own, right?
the work that it is to assert yourself, when you've got this like very logical, linear, fear-based masculine consciousness. And
Mhm.
Great Mother is like, enough, enough. And so as women, we are being called to embody more of that strength. And the men have the feminine too, but like as women, if we can't embody the empowered, strong, healthy feminine, how are the men going to?
Right. Right.
Um, so literally, it's like the men are spinning out and on this weird trajectory with the patriarchy because as women, we have not embodied the healthy feminine. And the truth is, which is super exciting, and we love men. It's not about flipping the
No,
tables,
right. Right.
having power over men, but the role of the masculine in each of us, like as an entrepreneur, right? Like my internal board of directors, or whatever you want to call it, is the feminine side of me gets the calling. Like visions into next quarter,
Yeah.
2026, how to meet my audience. And it gets the downloads, honestly, Dawn knows. And then the masculine side of me is like, here's
Do it.
what we need to do, which is
Yeah.
also very active. And in different roles, like when I co-owned a wine bar and an art gallery with a friend of mine who is also very right brain, I took over the left brain. I was the banker and the
Mhm.
marketing person. So
Mhm.
so I have nurtured that balance and become very aware of it. So that has to happen within
Yeah.
each of us first.
Yeah.
So,
It's
like, if you
amazing.
hear a Great Mother March, oh, I could never walk that far. Great Mother wants you to get curious about that and stay
Yes.
open. What if I could? What if I could walk more than I ever thought I could? And then hop in a support vehicle and be part of the team preparing this incredible community event that is going to leave people a little dazed and confused, I hope, right?
Yeah. Right.
Wow, that was amazing.
What just happened here?
What just
We need
happened?
that again. That was amazing. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I,
It's crazy.
I
This is so exciting. And I think something that, again, it will be something that will just continue to build year after year after year. I don't think this is a one and done. I don't see this as being a one and done sort of thing. And I think this is just the very, very tip of the iceberg on what could potentially grow into something really, really big. But you've done a lot of work to ensure that people can be involved in this movement at all different levels and all different ways. And if if you don't want to walk, there are other ways that you can support the Great Mother March. Talk a little bit about that and some other, the 501 and some other things that, are a little bit behind the scenes that people might want to be a part of if they can't actually do the walking.
Thank you. Absolutely. Because the other thing I understood sitting on the porch that day in last November is that um, what an amazing way to meet these times, right? Like if you are tapping into the headlines and just being like, ja, 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 like how, where, ja. This is an opportunity to be a part of what we want. Instead
Yeah.
of focusing on the shit show that's happening, focus on what this deconstruction of structures in DC
Yeah.
specifically are actually preparing for, which is a blank slate. And I heard Pete Buttigieg speak to this, like,
Mhm.
the government wasn't working before. So hopefully we are there to build it back. And this isn't a political event, but I'm just connecting this creativity, this
Yeah.
frequency of the feminine. Like we're going to have an opportunity as women to be a part of what comes next in this country and therefore the world,
Yeah.
and modeling that, like, people, this works. It
Hmm.
works to show up in community and to compromise and to listen deeply and to understand and to find common ground. And so being a part of that could look like, yeah, I'm committed to going to the Great Mother March Instagram every day and commenting and sharing and liking and spreading the word. It could look like, for sure, join the portal, greatmothermarchportal.com. You join for $13. All the money goes to the march. And you have templates, ways to email friends and other groups. Like, what groups do you know that want to invite their membership to create a circle and express what they're for?
Hmm.
There are opportunities to hop in and help us populate a spreadsheet of hotels. We've got someone in our community who lives in California who's not going to come to the march. She's going to send Reiki to us all once a week.
Hmm.
And we've been talking about that. We've got a whole event calendar of online events that goes live September 21st, 6 months to March, where people are offering experiences, whether they're teaching, from the book that they've written, or leading a breathwork session, or teaching how to knit, or, whatever, like
Right.
a
Right.
whole kind of like a masterclass series of events that are going to help us build community, raise awareness, and also raise funds. So you could help with that. We've got people that are copying and pasting the letter that they're sending to sponsors. We are raising money. We have a 501c3 sponsor. Great Mother March is a domestic nonprofit LLC in Oregon that I started. And then our 501c3 sponsor is in Asheville. It's the Center for Inspired Education with Joni Lamb. And so we need to raise money. Like, how many people do you know that do end of year giving? You could just commit to sending the website and the sponsorship deck out to your friends and encourage them to support this event that is going to help to bring this
Right.
the consciousness of the collective back into balance. And, I'm getting right now, to compare this, for example, to Woodstock is the example that's coming to me. So
Yeah.
imagine if you were able to say, like, I was part of the founding community of Woodstock and I helped spread the word and raise the money. Like,
Yeah.
that's the kind of potential that this march has. The only way it's going to reach that potential is if it is a widely collaborative event. This
Right.
cannot be the Whitney Freya show, and it's not. I am
Yeah.
committed to being, like, holding that space at the center, but it can only happen if from that center there is this, like, massive mandala of people just all bringing their unique gifts and passions and skill set to this arena. So the first
Right.
step, go to greatmothermarch.com, click the link to join the community, pay the $13, get in there. You'll get the email updates, follow us on Instagram at Great Mother March, and then come to one of the Zooms that we will have coming up, or comment under any of the places where it's like, who do you know? What are your ideas? You can copy and paste from a Google Doc and email your other favorite podcast hosts and
Yeah.
recommend me or the team to be speakers on a podcast. So there are so many ways to support.
Yeah.
And I also want to encourage people, I've had multiple people say like, oh, that time of year I'm always, somewhere else, or I can't do it. And then I hear back from them and they're like, oh no, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Like it's
Well,
a
and again, so many things, so many things that we need with this. And there's financial support, there's the sponsorship support, there's donation support, there's walking support, there's social media support, there's getting the word out support, there's the medical support, which I started thinking about with my husband. He could be there, and
yeah.
he's paramedic, first aid, got the whole, he can do all that. He
Yep.
can, all of these things that aren't necessarily I have to walk and do this, but it's part of the movement that helps support everyone that actually will walk. And so I encourage everybody, like we said, go to, and we'll drop all of these things in the show notes so that we have it, but thegreatmothermarch.com. And then we've got all the Instagram and the social media and all the different ways. We've got great PowerPoints on the website that kind of talk about the sort of path and what we're going to be doing. You can see the actual path and the places that we're going to stop. You can see the sponsorship levels. So if you do want to donate, there's kind of a different tiered level and what you get. I mean, as a business owner, I kind of think to myself, ooh, as a sponsor, if I could be at a certain level and all 32 days,
Few
I get
days.
32 days in all of these different cities. I get my logo up at the top of something, or somebody's going to wear my shirts, or somebody's going to have a big QR code of something on the back for me as a business owner. That is amazing
Yeah.
opportunity. And you would spend a heck of a lot more than what we're asking for a donation to get that sort of marketing out into the world. So that's an option if you're a business owner that wants to just contribute and get some publicity out of the deal as well. I think that's a great way to do it. But there's
And we
media
also have
decks.
this shop. We have the
We have
shop
a
on
great shop. I
the
was just going into that. And we're starting
Yep.
this beautiful shop that is on the Great Mother March, where people are contributing different beautiful items, physical items that you can purchase. We're going to start doing some digital items. We're going to do some other things, but if you want to give something to the Great Mother March and you sell something out of a shop and you just want to donate proceeds to that, you can do that, a percentage of the sale. That's a way to support without, necessarily having to do the walking. I mean, there's so many different options of ways that you can help support this movement. And hopefully we want a lot of people walking. I mean, that's
Yes.
the power of it too, is to get everybody out there to, really do the walking. But the reality is there's a lot of people that are going to be behind the scenes, right? And we know that and understand that, and we've built that into this sort of idea of community, that there's going to have to be people behind the scenes that are going to be able to support and help us. So we've got that on there on the website, the sponsorship levels. And then we're doing great press releases, and we're getting media blitzes, and we're starting all that kind of stuff. So if you know somebody that can help us with that, that would be a great way to help support.
Yeah.
Or if you just want to copy and paste, like Whitney said, that's great support. However you want to do it, there's tons and tons of resources on the website that will allow you to see sort of what this movement is turning into, as well as ways that you can help support outside of just walking too. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah,
it's great.
I mean, I'm just going back to I know the people that I talk to and work with that, we want to make a difference. We want to understand how we can be a part of the
Mhm,
solution. And
mhm,
and regardless of blue, red, whatever, like it's not sustainable to be this polarized. We have to remember how to listen to each other and respect each other and compromise and work together. And so the way that we move out of the current, climate is by being
mhm.
what is possible, not waiting for it to happen. You have to be the change you want to see in the world. I mean, Gandhi really nailed it. And so this is an opportunity to send that energy, that anger or frustration or just desire, this deep desire to live in a world
Yeah.
that is healed from this separation. And so, you know, I feel like I don't have to, quote, I'm using air quotes if you're listening on audio, I don't have to like stay as informed because I am focusing on the solution. Like
Hmm.
Great Mother March is how I am meeting these times. And every single one of us could say that. I am channeling my creative, visionary, healing, supportive energy towards this movement and this experience. And it is going to continue. This is
Right.
going to be the initiatory founding Great Mother March. And we're getting that there are going to be like state chapters. And so
Hmm.
this is going to mobilize, like think of Clara Pinkola Estes and her Women Who Run with the Wolves and the power of the crone. This is mobilizing the great mothers, kind of like the Council of Grandmothers, the Native
Hmm.
American wisdom that we so desperately need to inhabit ourselves. Um, you know, state chapters. And then future Great Mother Marches may look like relay races, you know, passing the
Across.
baton.
Yeah. Yeah. Across the
And seeing
states.
these rivers of women and men marching under this banner of the Great Mother from like imagine these rivers from like Seattle and San Francisco and LA and then meeting in St. Louis and then walking across and then the next I'm petitioning for every 2 years, please, Great Mother, every 2 years. And then, you know, the next one comes, you know, east to west, or we go up and down. And it's literally like if you've ever received acupuncture or reflexology, or it's like feet on the ground, the
Hmm.
women, the people marching, like boots on the ground. And this first one, I don't think it's any coincidence that we're literally marching along the exact like the foothills like parallel to the Appalachian Mountains, which is the oldest mountain chain in the United States, and I heard someone say the second oldest in the world. So this is like the spine of the world that we're waking up with this intention.
Hmm.
And if you're listening, we would love your support.
Yeah. And I think we end on that because that is a beautiful way to sort of wrap it up. But we will drop all of this. Please reach out to Whitney Freya or info at Mother March. Great
So
Mother
at Great
March.
Mother March, it's
Mother
right on
March.
the website.
Right on the website. And we've got downloadable PDFs and PowerPoints and information and buttons to click and all the stuff. So please, please go there, check it out. And if you have any questions, there's places for you to get answers. So thank you, Whitney, for sharing your vision with us. I look forward to it. And if you have any questions, you can drop them in the show comments below, and we'll get them over to Whitney as well. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Dawn.
Whitney.
Thank you, everyone.